Welcome to Lesson 14 in our study in the book of Revelation as a part of the prophecy series. Today we're going to continue right along with the opening of the seals. If you remember, in our last lesson we looked at the opening of the first 6 seals. That's going to bring us into chapter 7 of the book of Revelation. So our focus today is going to be on chapter 7, verses 1 through 17, salvation in the tribulation. So as these seals are being opened, the vision that John sees pauses to focus in on 2 groups of people in the midst of this tribulational period. We're going to see specifically with regards to a certain group of Jews who are the focus in the first part of what we're looking at today, and then as well as the martyrs, the Christian martyrs of the tribulational period. So let's take a look at the passage together, and we're going to break it up into several sections. So first of all, we're going to focus in on Revelation chapter 7, verses 1 to 8. And we're going to see the sealing of the 144,000 of Israel. So I want you to notice with me as we look at the passage. Let's start with verse 1. After this, I saw 4 angels standing at the 4 corners of the earth, holding back the 4 winds of the earth, that no wind might blow on the earth or sea or against any tree. Then I saw another angel ascending from the rising of the sun with the seal of the living God, and he called with a loud voice to the 4 angels who had been given power to harm earth and sea, saying, "Do not harm the earth or the sea or the trees until we have sealed the servants of our God on their foreheads." And I heard the number of the sealed, 144,000, sealed from every tribe of the sons of Israel. 12,000 from the tribe of Judah were sealed. 12,000 from the tribe of Reuben. 12,000 from the tribe of Gad. 12,000 from the tribe of Asher. 12,000 from the tribe of Naphtali. 12,000 from the tribe of Manasseh. 12,000 from the tribe of Simeon. 12,000 from the tribe of Levi. 12,000 from the tribe of Issachar. 12,000 from the tribe of Zebulun. 12,000 from the tribe of Joseph. 12,000 from the tribe of Benjamin were sealed. Now, let's take a look at this section. It's going to be a more major portion. We're looking at 8 verses. Let's take a look. First of all, we're going to notice in verse 1, John's vision of the 4 angels. So when we talk about the vision of the 4 angels, several things stand out. So first of all, their location. So here's what I want you to notice. These angels are located from every point of the earth. Now you say, what do you mean by point of the earth? Well, if you consider north, south, east, and west. So these angels are located from every point of the earth. Now, that brings us then, again, when we look at verse 1, we're going to see their purpose. What is it that they do? Why are they here? Well, these angels are to ensure that no wind blows on the earth and sea. Now, that's going to be pretty significant because whether you realize it or not, our existence on this planet is tied to the reality of our weather. And whether you like it being a windy day or not, the reality is that there is wind. Wind does a lot. It helps cool. It helps do a lot of things. It helps with pollination of plants. It is a major important thing for you and I existing in this world to have wind. Now, with regards to what these angels are doing, they've been commanded to, first of all, stop the wind, ensure that there's no wind blowing on the earth and the seas. That's pretty significant. Now, when we get to chapter 7, verses 2 to 3, we're going to see the angel from the east. So we've talked about these four angels. Now we're going to see that there's another angel, an angel from the east. In the first part of chapter 7, verse 2, we're going to see the angel described. We're going to see what the passage says about the angel. So here's what I want you to notice first of all. An angel comes from the east with the seal of God. So he's coming from the east with a seal. Now you and I, what in the world's a seal? Well, we understand seals in terms of like legal documents where you might have a raised seal or a stamp that's put on it. Very similar in the ancient culture. But here is an angel who's coming with the seal of God. Now the seal denotes ownership and protection. So when something is sealed by God, it's going to denote his ownership of whatever is being sealed and his protection, that which is being sealed belongs to him. Now, this angel who comes from the east with the seal of God is going to say something. So when you notice Revelation, the second part of verse 2 through 3, the angel's statement to the four angels. So it's going to be communicating with the four angels. So let's take a look at this now. When we look at verse 2, the second part through verse 3, we're going to see several things. First of all, when you look at verse 2, the second part, the four angels' task, we're going to see what it is that the four angels are supposed to do. So here's what I want you to notice. The four angels have been given the task to harm the earth and the seas. Well, we already know that they are to hold back the wind. That in itself would be rather harmful. Rather harmful. So they've been given this task. When you get now to chapter 7, verse 3, we see the command that has been given. What it says here is this, is that the angels are to withhold judgment until God's servants are sealed. They're not to begin these judgments or to execute these judgments until God's servants are sealed. Now, the whole concept of God's servants being sealed, that goes all the way back to the Old Testament, to the book of Exodus. Remember when God released the plagues upon Egypt, Israel had to experience a couple of them, but then it denotes that they were sealed by God. Therefore, the judgments did not have any effect on them. So it's kind of the same concept here. They're to hold back on the judgments until the number of servants who are to be sealed are sealed. So then that brings us now to chapter 7, verses 4 to 8, the sealing of the servants. The sealing of the servants. Now we're going to notice something special about these servants. So with that, notice now when we get to verse 4, the number of the sealed servants. There's a specific number of them. So John hears the number of Jewish believers who are sealed. Okay, so the attention isn't just the sealing of all God's servants, it's of a specific group of God's servants. And it's with regards to Jewish believers. So John is hearing the number of those who are to be sealed. So when you get to chapter 7, verses 5 through 8, there is the listing of the sealed servants. So it's going to tell us who these Jewish believers are, or where they are from, and how many of them, and so forth. So what I want you to notice here, first of all, is this. 144,000 servants come from the 12 tribes of Israel. So there's going to be a specific group of Jewish believers that are going to come from the 12 tribes of Israel. And when you look at it, it specifically says 12,000 from this tribe, 12,000 from that tribe. Now, I think that's significant because right now, if you consider the number of believing Christians in the nation of Israel today, it is only 180,000 out of a population that's a population of 10 million, and over 7 million of the population of Israel are Jews. And when you look and consider that only 180,000 of them are Christian, that is basically telling you that most of those who are, quote, Christian in Israel are not Jewish. They are from either Arab background and so forth. And that's a part of their demographics. But when we talk about it in the tribulational period, there is going to be a ceiling of 144,000 Jewish servants of God from the 12 tribes of Israel. Something for you and I to consider. Now, that's going to bring us to the second part now that we're going to look at here in chapter 7. And we're going to focus in on Revelation chapter 7, verses 9 through 17, the multitude of martyrs. So the first focus is the sealing of these Jewish servants of God. Now he's going to focus in on another group of servants, and these servants are those who have given their lives during this tribulational period. So here's what I want you to notice. Look with me at verse 9. After this I looked, and behold, a great multitude, that no one could number, from every nation, from all tribes and peoples and languages, standing before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed in white robes, with palm branches in their hands, crying out with a loud voice, "Salvation belongs to our God who sits on the throne and to the Lamb." And all the angels were standing around the throne and around the elders and the four living creatures, and they fell on their faces before the throne and worshiped God, saying, "Amen. Blessing and glory and wisdom and thanksgiving and honor and power and might be to our God forever and ever. Amen." Then one of the elders addressed me, saying, "Who are these clothed in white robes? And from where have they come?" And I said to him, "Sir, you know." And he said to me, "These are the ones coming out of the great tribulation. They have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Therefore they are before the throne of God and serve him day and night in his temple. And he who sits on the throne will shelter them with his presence. They shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more. The sun shall not strike them, nor any scorching heat. For the Lamb in the midst of the throne will be their shepherd, and he will guide them to springs of living water, and God will wipe away every tear from their eyes." All right, wow, let's take a look at this. All right, so let's focus in first of all on verse 9, and we're going to see John's vision of the multitude. John sees this great multitude. Now, what does he see? John sees a multitude of believers from every tribe and tongue. Now, it says nation. Now, when you think of nation in the book of Revelation, don't think in terms of nations as we have today with borders. It's really ethnicity. Every type of ethnic group there is, every tribe, and every language, every tongue that exists in the world. He sees a multitude of believers from all of these groups. Now, when you get to verse 10, you see the praise of the multitude. The multitude is going to give praise. And here's what I want you to notice. This multitude praises God and the Lamb for salvation. So they praise the one on the throne, and they praised the Lamb for salvation. Now, with this praise of the Lord and the praise of the Lamb for salvation, we're also going to notice in verses 11 through 12 of chapter 7, the worship of the hosts of heaven. What do you mean, the hosts of heaven? Well, the angels. Here's what I want you to notice. The angels and elders respond to their praises with worship. So when the multitude is praising, the 24 elders, the 4 living creatures, and the multitude of angels that are there all respond by falling on their faces and worshiping the one on the throne. Now, when you get to chapter 7, verses 13 through 17, we're going to see now the identity of the multitude. Now, who are they? Well, I want you to notice with me what it says, first of all, in chapter 7, verse 13, the elders' question. So one of the 24 elders has a question. So the elder asks John who the multitude is. So he's saying to John, John, you see this multitude of all of these folks from all these people groups, all these languages, all these ethnicities. Who are they? Well, I want you to notice when you look at verse 14 now, John's response. John's going to respond to this elder, and he responds that the elder knows the answer. It's like, almost like, why are you asking me? I don't know. You know the answer. So that brings us again to verse 14, where we're going to see the multitude's identity. So he's going to express who this multitude is. And so what I want you to notice is that the elder identifies the multitude as the martyrs of the tribulation. All right, so let's stop. During this 7-year period of judgment that falls upon the earth, there are going to be people who will come to Jesus Christ in faith. They will become his children. They will become believers. And because of that, because this is a time of judgment and evil is ruling, they are going to experience the martyrdom, that is, their lives will be taken because of their testimony. And what John sees, and here we are in the midst of the opening of these seals, he sees this multitude who have given their lives during this tribulational period praising God. Now, here's what we see in verse 15, the multitude's function. So what is their purpose then? Well, the text tells us they serve God continually. So Revelation says that these who have given their lives for the Lamb during this tribulational period will serve God continually. And then I want you to notice now in the second part of verse 15, the multitude's protection. So it's going to make a point to let us know that even as they are serving God, they're never again going to experience anything. Why? First of all, God will dwell with them. The Lamb will dwell with them. Jesus will be with them. They will always be in his presence. And then when we look at verses 16 through 17 of chapter 7, we see the multitude's provision. We'll see what's provided for them. Well, here's what I want you to notice. God will provide and protect them forever. They don't have to worry about anything, thirst or hunger. They don't have to worry about having to endure the elements of weather, such as heat or scorching. God will provide and protect them forever. And so that brings us to the end of chapter 7, verses 1 through 17. And we again noticed that there is salvation in tribulation. First of all, with the first group, God's servants among the Jews who were sealed. And second of all, with the martyrs, those who come to faith from every tongue, every nation in the world who have died for Jesus Christ. There will be salvation in tribulation.